Yes, people, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are all doing well. It's the Premier League football this weekend. Man United in action against Newcastle at Old Trafford. And we'll be looking ahead to the team news of that game as well, because we've got good news in regards to who is available or could be available for Manchester United in that game, but also who isn't available for Newcastle as well. But I'll also be telling you guys in this video why, shock horror, I agree with Jurgen Klopp. Yes, I'll be doing just that in this video. So make sure you're keeping it locked, liking, commenting, sharing and subscribing as well. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. We're trying to hit 150k subscribers ASAP, and I can only do that with your support. But we are here to look ahead towards United's action and of course look at those Jurgen Klopp quotes as well. We'll get stuck into the United news first. We hear from Erik ten Hag that Anthony Martial could be fit to face Newcastle, but we have to wait how it develops in the coming hours. He said this obviously after the Europa League game. We heard Harry Maguire will not make this, but it doesn't take long, I think. So Anthony Martial close to being fit for Manchester United in this game. Now obviously we've seen the influence Anthony Martial has had on Manchester United, even though he's played like, you know, 4 halves of football for us. He's had 3 goals, 2 assists, he's linked up the play really well, led the line really well. Everybody's played well off him, which has looked really good for Manchester United. And he gives us a different dynamic to the team. I thought Cristiano Ronaldo actually led the line well in the first half for Manchester United in the last game against Ammonia, and when he come on against Everton he looked a lot better as well. So obviously we're getting to see Cristiano Ronaldo settle in. He didn't have a pre-season and all that, but Manchester United have looked better with Anthony Martial in the team, so we need him fit. Now obviously it's still looking like it's touch and go up until kickoff, and for that reason you probably go, let's just bring him in off the bench, give him 45 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, so that he can get warm and get ready for that game against Spurs, because it's more important for me anyway, it might be different in your opinion, for Manchester United to have Martial starting that game against Spurs than it is maybe to start that game against Newcastle. That's no disrespect to Newcastle, and obviously you have Cristiano Ronaldo leading your line, you know what I mean, the greatest goal scorer ever, so it is no disrespect to Newcastle at all. But I just feel against Spurs, especially tactically, they're very good on the counter-attack. I think Martial does well in terms of holding the ball up, bringing others into play. And we won't want them to be winning the ball back off us quite quick, or United to be losing the ball in the final third, because then it will hurt us on the counter-attack. Martial helps in terms of building up the play, holding it up for us. And I also think he's had some good games against them too. And even when, you know, Spurs are attacking, in terms of us hitting them on the counter-attack, I think he's great for us doing that as well. So I'd rather see him start against Spurs than I would see him start against Newcastle and potentially go off injured. I say we bring him back in slowly. In terms of the news from Newcastle, now they still have a few players that, you know, could cause United problems. Almiron's in form at the moment. Callum Wilson could cause problems. Obviously you got Bruno Guimaraes in the midfield, but, and maybe key for them, Alan Saint-Maximin is injured for the game against Manchester United. That's coming from Craig Hope. And we also hear Alexander Isak is out of the game as well. Had a good game against Liverpool, and he looks like a good signing for Newcastle. Isak obviously injured at the moment, which isn't good for them, but positive for Manchester United that Saint-Maximin and of course Isak could be out of this game. It gives us a few less headaches to deal with. We still can't be taking them lightly though. They're in, you know, good form. They're building under Eddie Howe, and they still have some key players that can cause Manchester United problems. But a lot better for Manchester United to be having to go into that game without facing those two. Anyway, remember what I was saying about Jurgen Klopp? Well, these are the quotes from him. We hear Jurgen Klopp say, "Nobody can compete with Manchester City. We cannot act like them. It's not possible. Newcastle have said there's no ceiling for this club, and they're absolutely right. Congratulations. Some other clubs have ceilings." He also said there are 3 clubs in world football who can do what they want financially. And it's funny because when I thought about this year, I immediately thought City, Newcastle. And then I was thinking, does he mean Barca? Is he taking digs at Barca? Obviously he meant Paris Saint-Germain in terms of how they're backed and, you know, the unlimited wealth of resources they're backed with, and the kind of sugar daddies that they have. And how bad that is for football and all those kind of things. Now, it looks like sour grapes because Jurgen Klopp's team are doing awful at the moment, and he's just spent a lot of money on Darwin Núñez. And I'd love to sit here and say Jurgen's cracking up, which, you know, these may be signs that he is, 7th season Jurgen and all of that kind of stuff. But I also think there's a sense of truth. There's a lot of truth in what he is saying exactly. Now, I think there should be 4 clubs in that United should be able to compete even without a sugar daddy. The amount of resources that Manchester United create, the commercial deals we have, the TV money, etc. That means Manchester United should be able to do that. And the only reason we don't compete is because we're totally mismanaged by the Glazers, and we have them sucking money out of us whilst mismanaging the funds that they do give to us. So that, you know, and I say do give to us by they're not giving us any money. It's United's money. It's what they're allowing United to spend. The money that they're not taking in dividends and everything. Don't let me, I'm not going to go on a Glazer rant right now. Interestingly though, we've released a documentary today over on Stretford Paddock. I'll put the link in the description below. You know, it's clear why we hate the Glazers anyway. But United should be able to compete. Do you know what I mean? We're just mismanaged. Accountants running all over the place and the Glazers taking money out of the club. And what Jurgen Klopp's saying is true. You know, obviously he's been competing, you know, with Liverpool and trying to win things against Man City, but ultimately he has to get a lot of things right, and City can just, you know, buy whoever they want. PSG can buy whoever they want. Newcastle eventually will be in that position where they can do what they want, and they're not taking any risks because they know if that don't work, we can go again. Now that's to take nothing away from Pep Guardiola's coaching and the incredible work that he has done, but you've also got to look at the fact that these clubs are financially doped. And there's a reason why PSG and City are 2 of the most successful teams, and Newcastle will eventually get to a position where they're competing with them as well, because money does talk. Now, if United were allowed to spend their money and invest it wisely, and you know, rather than pay for the Glazers to be there, then I think we'd be competing too. And hopefully Ten Hag can guide us to a position where we can compete. But it'd always be in spite of the owners. And we saw it with Chelsea, you know, when you've got an owner that don't really care about making money and he just wants to spend on, you know, a team being successful for whatever reasons, sports washing or whatever. And there's other reasons why these kind of takeovers shouldn't be allowed. But when they are in those positions, they ultimately will be successful. And Newcastle, whilst it looks like they're building slowly at the moment, eventually they'll get to that position too. Look at the deals that City have been allowed to make and stuff like that. The dodgy deals with offices in London with no one even working there. How is that a sponsorship deal? We know what's going on there. It's so obvious, but it's allowed to happen. City are allowed to function like that. PSG are allowed to function like that. State-owned clubs. Jurgen Klopp's right, even if he is, you know, bitter because of where his team is at the moment. Anyway, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you're keeping it liking, commenting, sharing and subscribing. United Newcastle tomorrow. I'll be reacting to the game, of course, on this channel. So I'll see you there for that. And I'll see you later.